Okay, hello everyone. I'm here with Grace Rizza from Identity Dental Marketing, one of our sponsors, and I wanted to chat with her regarding dental marketing. It's one of the topics that many of you have shown interest to find out about. And I wanted to ask the person I personally use actually to come in and help us out. Hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Sure, of course. Thank you for supporting the group and helping many of our members. I just heard actually from another member that is a recent member that she had actually started using you before joining my group. So things are travel fast, war travel fast. Hey, tell me a little about yourself and your team's structure and how did you come about helping dentists?
Sure. So I started the business in 2009 after working for a dentist for about 2 years. We had a 2-location. I say we. I like buy in whatever I do. I'm all in. So we had 2 locations. I didn't own any of those locations, but I was the marketing director during the recession. So 2008 going into 2009, everything was still everyone was still worried, not spending money. It was a tough time to be in marketing, especially to be in dentistry. And I fell in love with it. I tripled our new patient numbers in 3 months. I cut our marketing ad spend because I identified the things that were working, the things that weren't working, reallocated some funds, and I just fell in love with it. Coached the whole team up on how to convert new patient callers to actual new patients, and I just ran with it. After marketing those 2 locations, I really noticed there was a missing piece in dental marketing at that time. There wasn't a whole lot in regards to custom design, custom brand. And my background is in advertising and psychology, my educational background. And I just had spent, so many years studying the psychology of branding and how people make decisions. And then going into the dental market, I was like, it's all wrong. All the marketing is wrong. We're saying the wrong things. We're leading with price. We're not building brands. It's so broken because it's supposed to be this introduction to who you really are. And you have these few marketing companies targeting dentists, maybe not serving them the way that they should. And it just lit a fire under me. I'm like, I could do this better. And so I started the company. I was 24 years old. My family thought I was out of my mind. No dentists in my family. They're like, dentists? Why? I'm like, they need me. And it's just been a really fun journey ever since. So I've stuck with it, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So.
So tell me, I want people to actually get to know you better because I, as everybody knows, I usually try the product before they become a sponsor of the group. And I hired you before we even started talking about sponsoring my group. I had seen your videos in other groups and around the internet. And I wanted to try it for myself, and it's worked well for me. I know I don't listen to you as much as I should. And
made my whole day. Like, you just made my whole day. I needed that.
I mean, it's like going to the dentist. If you don't listen to the advice, you can't expect results. So I'm happy with my results, and I'm fortunate enough that I'm at a point in my career that
you're comfortable.
I am comfortable. Maybe I'm not ready to work harder for more, but we are getting a lot of actually good results. Most of our new patients come from seeing us on the internet and things like that. But I wanted to talk to you about how you do your business differently than other marketing companies, your core values, and like what made me sign up with you was the fact that you didn't make me sign a contract. Oh, you got to stay with me for a year. I do the same thing with my sponsors here. I say, hey, you're not happy. Here's your money. I don't want anything. So talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah. So first I want to tell you, I'm going to update your website because I want to. And because you're telling people about us and they're going to it and they're probably thinking it's all us, but I'm just excited. So I'm just putting that out there to the universe because I'm going to do that and they can watch the journey. Okay. So I'm putting you under pressure. You're getting a new great website, whether you want it or not, but you don't have to have it. But anyways, I was locked into contracts in that position. So I was on the other side of this relationship. I was the one hiring the marketing companies and interfacing with them. And one of our ads that we were running before I got into that practice, it wasn't performing and it was a lot of money. It was very high risk. At that time, it was $3,500 a month. We were running radio ads and they weren't bringing in the right kind of patients for the practice because they just weren't about our unique selling proposition. They were just, someone wrote them that didn't know the business. They didn't know the core. And I went to cancel and they're like, you have 2 years left on this contract. I was like, what? 2 years? How long is this? And they're like, it's a 3-year contract. I'm like, oh. Luckily, I have a strong copywriting background. I turned it into a producing ad. We got a good ROI. But it was in that moment that I was like, if this were my company, I wouldn't have any contracts. So I've never felt the need to lock people in. I think that's a huge red flag. And I think it's an indicator that there isn't going to be value. I think, why do you have to commit? If you can get results, people aren't going to want to leave you. It's that simple. So I put a lot more focus on setting realistic expectations at the beginning of a relationship and explaining how these things work and educating any person that I'm talking to so that they can make their own marketing decisions. They can do more, they can do less, but they know what to expect from it. And I think that's why we've been successful, is that people kind of get to make that decision. But I don't need a contract. So
yeah, I mean, it's just common sense. If someone's not happy, why would you want to keep them anyways? It never made sense to me, I get these new patients come to my office like, oh, I hated my last dentist. I'm like, how long were you with him? 22 years? I mean, why?
So, fun fact in dentistry, I know this is supposed to be about me and everything, but one of the things I researched when I was in that position was how many visits does a patient need before they're a patient for life? And it's 4 visits. So if they visit you 4 times, there's a good chance you have them for a very, very long time. Except in today's day and age, unless you drop their insurance, then bye.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So tell me, so why do dentists stay with you rather than jumping from one company to another? Why? Because I have my own reasons, actually, and but I will tell you after you give me your answer. But I am. And I was talking to this other person that signed up with you before knowing my group and myself, and she agreed. That was nice. So what do people stay with you?
They tell me it's trust. They tell me I've been with this company, that company. They overpromise, underdelivered, and they don't have that experience with us. So I think it's easy to say, oh, results, but that's super vague. And every market is different. Every marketing campaign is different. Everyone's goals are different. The ideal patient is different for every practice. And so it's not a one size fits all approach. And I think that's what allows us to meet people where they're at with what they need. And ultimately, we don't have a big, huge sales team. We're not out there trying to be the biggest or fastest growing company. It's really a focus on showing up, doing what we say we're going to do, and always being honest. Like, it's that simple for me.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons I stay with you. The one was that you weren't pushy. Some of these SEO companies call me on a weekly basis. Oh, just let me do it. Let me do it. So you weren't pushy, and yes, the fact that you were transparent. This is not an exact science. You can't say, hey, do this, this, and this, and this is the result you're going to get. You're going to be able to improve things. And I kind of liken it to, making dentures for patients. You bring their expectations to a reasonable level, and then you can exceed it. But if someone comes to you and says, for example, hey, I need 65 all on four patients, you won't be able to do that, right? I mean, this is not the way it
No,
works.
so I did have someone have a similar conversation recently. It was the funniest conversation I've had in a long time. He said, Grace, I'm opening in 2 months. What's it going to take to get me 100 new patients? I was like, what market are you in? I looked up the competition and I gave him a dollar amount. And I thought he was going to hang up on me. And he, I don't even remember the dollar amount for his market, but it wasn't a small number. And he goes, let's do it. You're the first person who gave me an honest answer to that question. And you're the person I'm going to be working with. And I was like, are you a dentist? And he started laughing. And I said, no, what's your background? He says, I have my MBA and I know how these things work. And you're the first person who gave me an honest answer. And I was like, all righty, well, let's go. So like, we can do it. But the key is, it's just be honest. Just be honest about what it takes to get there. And sometimes people want to spend very little and have this huge return. And sometimes we can do that. And it depends a lot on how many dentists are in your market and how competitive is your market. It makes all the difference in how marketing works and what it costs. So
that brings us to my next question, is that everybody now knows what SEO is, thanks to all the advertising that we get on Facebook. Search engine optimization. And my experience has been that Google, just to mess with us, changes this algorithm probably every 3-4 months to keep you guys on your toes. How does it work? How do you guys, utilize your skills to be able to help us as dentists get new patients? I mean, I'm sandwiched between 2 different dental offices, literally. And when we've talked about that, it's okay. I don't have a problem. But how does that work? Tell us a little bit about that, about Google ads and things that are most effective.
Sure. So with search engine optimization, we'll go the organic route first. I'll give a condensed answer because I could talk about this literally all day and not get bored. I am obsessive with SEO. To me, it's very simple. It's probably like a filling for you. It's very simple for me on a concept level, but just because I've been doing it for so long. Basically, you can look at it like a race. You can look at like it's an ongoing race to a finish line that just keeps moving. It doesn't ever end because someone always has to be first, second, third. Top 3 is where you get the absolute best return on investment. And there are 2 kinds of SEO, really. There's on-site SEO and there's off-site SEO. On-site is everything you do to your website to get Google's attention for all the right things. So when Google bots crawl a website, it's essentially giving you points for different things. The cool thing is you can always get more points. So this is what kills me about these people selling SEO through audits. It's like they're looking for things that they could criticize, but you can always, there's no 100% score. So when you put that out there in front of, dare I say, a perfectionist dentist crowd, you kind of startle them, disturb them, bother them in a way where they go, well, tell me more. And so first thing is those audits are usually just sales tactics. So be careful with those. So you've got on-site optimization. It's about 50% of what we do in website development or in SEO is in website development. It's how the site is built. So if you've got a marketing agency that's really good at design and they know a little bit about SEO, but they're not custom building their websites, they're using builders, drag and drop builders, creates layers of code between those Google bots and your content. All of that code puts you at a disadvantage in the rankings. So a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to redo my website. I don't want to start over. So we have some solutions for that. We don't always have to start over. We try to keep people's startup investment as reasonable, as low as possible. But the way the site is built affects our ability to get it ranked. If it doesn't have certain components, it's not going to perform as well. So builders aren't great. Any company that uses proprietary or paid plugins or platforms, that's a lot of P's, proprietary or paid plugins or platforms, those sites are going to run into issues because we're not going to have full access to everything. And certain things are going to break. You don't have full ownership. So the website development process is imperative to getting results with SEO. There are some companies that will just do SEO. They don't even look at the website. They're just going to build links, run, because they're skipping 50% and you're never going to get there. So that's on-site optimization. That would be metadata, microdata, page content, keyword integration, site maps, directories of content. We have lists and lists and lists of things that we integrate as time goes on. We also continually add content to the website in different aspects so that we're getting rankings for what's called long tail keywords. So these are really specific search terms that aren't the main search terms. So we want to not only rank for dentist town, best dentist, town dentist, but we also want to get you ranking for the long tail keywords like best cosmetic dentist near town. It's like, okay, that's pretty specific. Then we go over to offsite SEO. Offsite SEO is everything we do to other entities, websites, platforms, listings that make Google think your website is more important than the others for your desired keyword searches. So this is link building, this is directory optimization, this is handling and merging duplicate listings. This is everything that we do off of your website to get you to look important to Google. So it's pretty simple. And the way that I've never gotten hit by a Google change, I've never incurred a penalty. I've never had a client get a penalty or get blacklisted or banned in any way, shape, or form. There's a few ways to make sure that happens. One, the work has to be done in-house. So you can't be outsourcing everything and have no idea how this stuff works and just reselling it, or you're putting everyone in jeopardy, especially your own business. So we do all the work in-house. And then the other biggest component of this is to have a varied approach. So if you're an SEO company and you have one trick, you need to diversify what you do to get rankings. You need to have points from reviews. You need to have points from certain keyword integration. You need to have points from backlinking. You need to have optimized local listing, like your Google business listing has to be very strategically set up. So all of these different systems play into how Google prioritizes you. So for the past 13 years, I just keep adding stuff. I just keep saying, oh, okay, now in month 15, we're going to do this thing again, and we're going to do it this way. So when we bring on a new client, we have step by step delegation for onboarding, setup, monthly services. Everything is digitally delegated and overseen so that not a step gets missed. And that's why our results are very predictable in most cases. So
great. Yeah, I love I've told you this the first month that we started working together, and I like the fact that you guys are very responsive. You send an email and it gets tagged with all the people that are in charge of your account, and everybody talks and they figure it out. I know I did have an issue with the listing in mine, and you guys corrected it, and I keep testing it. It's coming up now, so it's working. whatever you did. Now, you talked about my website. You hurt my feeling. Everybody tells me I have a great website, and I paid a lot of money for it. So you're telling me that it can be optimized to work for me better.
I think I'm not worried about your website per se. The one thing I would improve about your website, if we're going there, are we going there?
Sure.
I would love to see more of you and more of your team. I love The Office. I love seeing the office photo on the homepage. But in advertising, we learn, and in psychology of advertising, we learn that when you see a person, a real person, it gets your attention more. You stick around longer, and it piques your interest. So I think the website is okay, but I think it could be stronger.
So you don't think those fake people I have on the front page are helpful?
I'm not a huge fan of stock photography when we can get around it, but even so, it's also the best website 5 years later. It still needs mine desperately needs an update. So please no one go to my website. It's desperate. I'm rebranding and updating everything. Finally putting myself as a client, but it's just time for an update. That's all.
Yep, yep, I agree. Yeah, we'll talk offline about my stuff. So what else would you like to, I want to have this conversation on a regular basis with you, if you don't mind, maybe once a quarter to talk about different topics. It would be nice for it's a topic that everybody wants to learn about, and we're bombarded by different companies. So it's good to have someone that we trust, at least I trust. You know, people, everybody has to form their own trust. I know I've told you, I've trusted you, and I've told people who I recommend to you, the first thing I say, I got to be transparent. I'm like, I don't know what they do, but I know I trust Grace. So, you know, who knows what these SEO companies are doing, but, and I'm a techie. So, so I trust you, and I appreciate what you do for myself and the members that have contacted you. And you're still doing that 30 minutes free consultation, no obligation, correct?
Yes, I will say if it's a startup practice, it'll probably go 45 because there's a little bit more. If it's the first time you've ever marketed, you might want to say 45 minutes. But yeah, I definitely will offer your members a complimentary planning session. Yes.
Great. And we still have that. You basically give them a 10% discount as well, right?
Yeah.
So those are all good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add before we end our first video chat?
I will just say, if you're on the fence about setting up a marketing planning session, I just want you to know I barely follow up. It's not a high pressure situation. And you will walk away with insight that you can use, whether it's with my company or you implement it on your own, whatever your intentions are. I'll break down what you're doing, where you're at, where you want to be, and the quickest way to get there. And again, it's a no pressure thing. So I definitely encourage it.
Great. I wanted to thank you again for spending some time with us, and hopefully we'll do a lot of these in the future.
Sounds good.